I love the fact that was it your one-woman show that started this all off?
Yeah, I did. I wrote a show about Josephine Baker, which was on at the Bush in London, and then it transferred to New York. And the director of the show was a director called Phillip, who directed Mamma Mia, the movie. And Christine Baranski came to see the show and loved the show. And the next night asked the producers of The Good Wife to come and watch the show, The Kings, who were like this husband and wife team. And I loved The Good Wife and was a massive fan, so I knew who they were at the dressing room door, but I just was thrilled they come to see the show, and that was on a Saturday night, and they offered me a job on the Monday.
And it moved all so quickly, because initially you were only meant to be there for, I think, 3 episodes.
Yeah, 3 eps, yeah. And I mean, and in the States, that's quite normal to go in and only do, like, the first 3 or have a small arc, because it's a 22-episode show.
The Good Wife, which we all saw, and that came to an end.
Yeah.
To then a spin-off. And again, that came as a surprise, because you came home after the original series.
Yeah, I signed off my apartment. I was ready to move home. I did Shakespeare in the Park. We did Taming of the Shrew. And I was all packed up coming home. I was supposed to do a play here in the West End. And they called and said, we want to do the show with Christine, and Christine won't do it without you, and what do you think? And I said, OK.
What I love is this is a show, as you said, The Good Wife, that you had been such a fan of.
Yeah.
I mean, major fan.
Yeah.
And so what were you like on set when you walked in?
Oh, so uncool, so not. I'd watched it when I left uni. I'd watched it. I loved the show. It always had loads of Broadway actors popping up on it and really cool actors. And I used to think I'd love to be on a show like that as I watched it in New Cross in my crappy little flat. And I never thought I'd end up on it. So I knew the judges, I knew the guest stars, I knew it's really weird things like the elevator doors. To come out of those elevator doors when you've seen so many other people come out of them, or to be in Alicia's office, or I was just embarrassing and not cool, and it took me a while to calm down. I think when you spend your whole life wanting to, do a job that you really want to do, the first time you actually make the connection between you really being in a show like that is mind-blowing. You always think you're going to get used to it, but at the moment we had the show on a lot of taxi cabs in New York, just driving around, and I'm just laying on the top of a lot of taxi cabs in New York, and it's crazy.
But when they decided, right, that's it for the Good Wife, we're done with that one now, and they started dismantling the set, that actually hurt you.
It did, yes. Because I'm like a crazy person now, but I think I get really emotionally connected to physical things, like a lot of actors do. And the conference room was gorgeous, and there'd been a lot of really famous scenes in the conference room. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who did the show for the last episode, he does The Walking Dead now, could see that I was getting really upset when they brought in the sledgehammers and started pulling down the conference room, so he stole me a bit of the wall.
Did you actually shout out, no, not the conference room?
I did say no, not the conference room, because it was emotional, whereas Christine and Juliana couldn't wait for it to go.
Yeah.
It was suffocating, there was no air in there, it always smelled of BO, like they wanted it to, stuff you can't smell through the TV, and so...
Where's that bit of wall then from the conference room?
It's in a sandwich bag in my house.
And the new series, well, it seemed to be written so fast, and also because we used to think everything takes such a long time to make, and then you don't see it until years later.
Yeah.
But this was a quick turnaround, because it's so current. The first episode, where you saw Donald Trump getting his presidency, and that was the first moment, so really...
Well, when the Kings wrote the show, when they were first writing those first few episodes, they really did... Everyone assumed Hillary was going to win. So that first episode was actually rewritten a couple of weeks before we shot it, because, things were kind of moving really fast, and we were shooting on the 68th floor of this building, our first episode, and we were next door to the Hilton where he then later had his victory party, and there were like newscaster trucks everywhere, and New York was insane, and we were all just shooting, and gradually as the night went on, the set got quieter and quieter and quieter, and the election went the other way, and it was just
bizarre,
but also really exciting to be doing something that's so close to what's going on that you really feel like you're part of real life. Yeah.
Well, so you obviously spending a lot of time in the States, in New York, 6 months over there, I think 6 months over here currently, and to keep your mind sharp and your brain sane, you dip into theatre. And that's what you'll actually did a couple of doors down here.
Yeah, literally just I'll go to rehearsals after this next door.
Is it 1806? It's called Common?
It's called Common. It's set in 1806, and it's about this parliamentary act of enclosure. Stay with me, it gets really exciting. So it's about these two girls out in the countryside somewhere when everybody has common land, so no land belongs to anybody at this point. And Parliament come in and kind of try and take the common land turned away. And Anne-Marie Duff, who plays Mary, goes off to London for 20 years and everyone thinks she's dead, and then she comes back as this mysterious stranger and kind of really kind of burns the village to the ground. Not literally, but she brings back a lot of excitement. So I'm doing a lot of rolling around with knives. And
you said you're covered in bruises.
I'm covered in bruises. We're fighting each other and sacrificing animals, and it's really not the good wife.
You can hear these noises.
It's really good. Yeah, I don't have to wear Spanx.
Your first scene is dragging a dead, I mean, I say, you know, it's a dead animal on the
a dead foal that I've just slit its throat. I'm kind of dragging it on and burying it in a hole. Yeah, so it's about as far from the
I was going to say, these are two very different worlds.
As far away from your personality as you could get as well.
Yeah, actually, because I'm really a clumsy person. I can't even really catch things, but for some reason when I'm acting that, I seem to do it pretty well. So
very good actress, very talented. Yeah.